Welcome to the Practical Classics restoration show here at the Birmingham NEC. I'm here on the Jaguar XJS stand. Starting off here with this delightful Jaguar XJS convertible. Beautiful colour, fine example of convertible XJS. This is the 4-litre straight 6 version, of course. But this show is really about the restoration, and here we have a Project XJS facelift car. You can see in here we've got reasonably presentable paintwork, but just as a quick comparison, have a look at this half of the car here. I don't know if it's coming out on camera, but half the car has been cleaned with Jaguar's, a quick wipe over, and then you've got maybe 18 months worth of dirt and grime where it's been stored in a barn. So this is not unusual for something that's stored in a barn without any protective covers. And if I just pan you up and across, you'll see it has the usual Jaguar headlining challenges. You can see down here the door card over there has been stripped off already. Very much a starting project with the obligatory storage cobweb, of course. You can see here, this is quite an extreme example of some of the corrosion that can happen. This is more of an issue with the facelift cars, such as this one, where it really can struggle with corrosion. I think perhaps during the factory process something gets nicked and the water comes in and it starts to bubble up from underneath usually. You can see here the scuttle trim being pushed out by the corrosion, and this whole panel will just eventually go. So the information card reveals this car has actually been off the road since 2012, and it's been sat outside, which probably explains why we've got the corrosion. And just over here you can notice we've got more corrosion. Unusual place to get it, I suppose, because normally you'd expect it down the bottom. This one is more of a heavy duty restoration. Now this is actually an XJS Chasseur special edition. Pretty unique car. I would draw your attention to the rear window here. This is actually a pre-facelift coupe window. The Cabriolets never had them, they had a different window style. So it's quite a unique car. The Chasseur was made in very, very limited numbers, and we think the specification on this one, there may be one other car that has this set up with the sort of cabriolet roof lining, but with the XJS coupe rear window. This car has been laid up, I think maybe 12 years perhaps, but now it's the start of a very comprehensive restoration program. Tens of thousands of pounds will probably be lavished or spent on this car. Much of the interior has already been stripped out, as you can see. The V12 engine, and in fact you can see it's still mated to its GM400 3-speed automatic transmission. A very strong transmission, but also very heavy, about 80 kilograms plus just for the transmission alone. V12 5.3 HE engine here, a few things stripped off, most noticeably the Harrison A6 air conditioning compressor that's been removed, but you can still see the fuel lines in there. The fuel rail, shall say, and the intakes and the throttle bodies. The engine doesn't look so big once it's out, but of course it has some of its ancillaries removed, so that might explain why. I'll come over here. You may recognise this car from last year. This is the Hyper XJS. We featured an interview with Paul Hands, who's just here examining the engine. The car has been improved compared to how it was. It now has a trim in place. Very interesting wheels. I believe these were produced by Image Wheels, but designed by Paul back in the day. Paul is currently with owner Simon. Was this the vacuum line you was talking about earlier, Paul?
Yeah, it was in the one at the back here.
Right.
So this is where we're trying to stuff that. At the moment, it's got no water temperature gauge.
Right.
He ain't got the wire,
Ah.
right? And he ain't got no oil pressure gauge because there's no thing on it.
Right.
All the wiring out.
Yep.
Well, that lot wants to be thinned out.
Yep.
Yeah. Because right as Mobeck put a long lead on that,
Right.
and and it's also what's missing. So that could be the oil pressure.
All right. Yeah. Pressure sensor. Yep.
Yeah, that's not enough length. I don't know. Or that could be the washer. But no, that's the washer bottle.
Yep.
But if that's the idle,
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
right?
Yep.
And that idle wire
Yep.
has got to go to something that adjusts the idle.
Fair.
If it doesn't, well, I don't know. They took the ARV off.
Oh, the aux air valve. Oh yeah, it's been blanked off. Okay. Yep.
Right. Little things like that. Butterfly.
Oh,
If you could get this to start, it would drive at about 3,000 RPM.
just so wide open.
Yeah. And the other
Oh.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah, oh,
What's that?
well, that's the one that goes down to the ARV, doesn't it?
Okay. So what? Why would they have changed all the setup like that?
Well, because the Mobeck system
Oh.
has got an electronic.
Oh, so it does it sense differently.
I presume. I know nothing about the Mobeck system other
Not
than
do I.
what I'm looking at. Follow what I mean. If that says idle, I'm assuming
It means idle.
it's
Yep.
got to go to what was the ARV. But by the same token, you shouldn't have an hole.
No. So literally, it really is, isn't it?
Yeah, look.
Wow.
I can show you. Look.
Go on.
Come with me.
Oh, sure. All right. We shall follow Paul.
What I'm saying is, look.
Ah, here we go. So there's the AAV,
Yeah.
and there's the connecting pipe. Got it.
Right? So
Yep.
that's left, he's left that open.
It's left it open. Yep. So
And it's like, if you look at this wiring loom,
Yep.
yeah, the original engine wiring loom,
yep.
that's like the oil. You've got the ones that go around the front and they're missing. The auxiliary wiring's missing. in that engine.
Got it.
Because it's built into a lot of the wiring.
Oh, I see.
But that's what I'm saying, they've done away with that,
Yep.
which is fine. But how do you control?
How do you measure and?
And that's what that wire says to.
Okay.
That makes sense now.
It does. Thank you very much. Well, I'm just over here on the Maguire stand, and I couldn't help notice this fantastic Jaguar S-Type X202. But just looking here and down here, you'll see it has a manual conversion. So I'm guessing that's a 6-speed. So that's probably a box out of the S-Type diesel from period. Strong transmission, so it should be able to take the power. I also believe that the car itself has a max ECU remap on this, so I think it's good for about 500 brake horsepower. Although it's done out in the Maguire's colours, I do believe it used to be green, and it was quite a famous car. It was well publicised, but I'm just looking at it now and I just love the finish. If I just bring you down. I say it's X202, same shape as my Japanese re-import S-Type-R, but the modifications on this with the wheels, the tyres, that transmission and the suspension means this is a very special S-Type. quite unique, I'd imagine. That rear end that's associated with the X202 and also the X200. So we're just coming in here and we can have a look at this interior. Those bucket seats and harnesses there. Just amazing. I'm just really liking the spec on this car. It's just, for a racing car, it's extremely civilized. This is all Alcantara, I believe. So they've obviously spent some money on this just to get it into that modern race car look. I just think it's amazing. But even the panels here have all been done in this Alcantara, and also even the armrests. So it really does enhance the specification of this S-Type. Okay, we're just having a look underneath the engine bay here. So those who have seen my S-Type-R will recognise some of this. This is a AJ33S engine. Oops, sorry. Gimbal's going all over the place. It's got the Eaton supercharger under there, obviously without the covers. No variable valve timing on this, but quite a bespoke setup with the intake. So we've got the cone here and the bespoke metalwork going up into the nose of the supercharger. A couple of nice details as well. Adjustable suspension here. So it's done away with the standard setup and we've got adjustable suspension in here. Just looking at some of the other bits, I noticed the PCV here. The line out is different. Normally that would go and recirculate and go all the way back to the intake. But on this, I suspect it may just vent out. I believe this has a max ECU custom mapping. So this car with the manual transmission, super quick. It's about 500 brake horsepower at the moment. Really, really nice car. So we're over here at Hurst Park Classic Cars, and the reason for that is not only is there a lovely selection of Jaguars, we've got the Mark 10, we've got an X358 just cheekily being over there, and also there's like a Series 1 or possibly Series 2 in sable brown over there, but the one that's really caught my eye is this S-Type-R. Now there's still a reasonable number of S-Type-Rs out there in the wild. Numbers have it that there's around 8,000 or so S-Type-Rs built over the time, and around 4.5 went across stateside. But what's really nice about this 02 plate one, which is X202, is the mileage. So it's purported 19,000 miles, just a couple of owners. So part of the Jaguar VIP fleet, 2 owners, I believe a doctor in London, and then his son. If you look inside here, you'll see actually could be fully loaded. So we've got the sat nav, heated seats. Looks like it's fully loaded spec on here. Bird's eye maple in there with the contrasting red and black leather, which I think is known as charcoal black with the red stitching. I'm not sure of the paint colour. Obviously it is some sort of grey, but it's just not often you find such a clean UK car like this with such a low mileage, because what it means, you just don't have the wear that you might normally find on the bolsters, for example. If you come around to the back, you'll see the excellent condition trim, and if I cheekily poke my camera inside and pan up, you'll see that the headlining is in remarkably clean condition, which is commensurate for a car of this low mileage. This one actually has the sunroof option as well, so it's slightly lower. headline than what is on my S-Type. As with all S-Type-Rs, it has the obligatory factory fit spoiler on the rear, and the S-Type-R Type R badging, of course. This being a 2002 example, it has the X202 with those classic rear lights, and there's nice chunky exhaust just like on my S-Type back home. Just coming around for a closer shot of this immaculate interior, really quite special. Noting the original Jaguar mats as well. Very attractive car, and I'm just going to be cheeky and pull the bonnet. So this is featuring the Jaguar AJ33S with the Eaton supercharger. Standard intake on this one here. No variable valve timing on the AJ33S. However, the engine is still good for around 398 brake horsepower and around 560 Newton meters of torque. As you'll see with this one, a very standard, unmolested setup. Regular viewers will know that mine's been modified somewhat, but this is completely stock, completely standard. No modifications whatsoever. Really good quality, good looking engine bay, commensurate with a car that's only covered 19,000 miles. Very clean. As we know, S-Types can corrode down the side here. This extremely clean example, obviously well loved over the time. Well, I couldn't resist going past Jaguar XJ40. This is a Daimler 6 from 1994, and I just wanted to check out the technology here. This is an original Motorola optional phone fitted to clearly this exec model. Notice the rear bench is 2 seats rather than the 3-seat bench that you'd normally get in XJ40. We've got the extra quality woodwork, and obviously we've got the piping on the leather trim. Headlining sadly has seen better days, but it's just a foam that comes away that degrades over time that causes the headlining to go. But the interior otherwise is really impressive, and we've got the picnic tables just here, which was I believe an exclusive Daimler optional feature. If I come round, you can just see the quality of the wood veneer and the general finish of this top of the range Jaguar from its day back in 1994. We've also, it's a bit noisy, notice we've got the sunblind here as well. Coming round, I'll just check out these really nice, hang on, let's get the shot. Really nice 16-inch Daimler wheels. I'm not sure I've seen them before actually. And if you come round to the front, there is the traditional Jaguar Randall handle, or the J-gate. So-called Randall handle named after Jim Randall, the engineer responsible for it. Little to no wear on these at all. It really does show. What an excellent example. Just coming in close here. No wear on this at all. Outstanding. It's a pleasure seeing this car on display at the Practical Classics show here at the Birmingham NEC.